Joining me now is Senator Bernie Sanders, independent of Vermont. Thank you for being here, Senator.
My pleasure.
Tell us, why was this Republican letter inappropriate in your view?
Well, very simply, Al. The President of the United States is the person, whether he's a Democrat or a Republican, who leads us in foreign policy. As Senator Collins indicated, the function of the Senate is advice and consent. It is not to undermine the work that the President of the United States is doing. Can you imagine, before the war in Iraq or during the war in Iraq, if some Democrat had written a letter to Saddam Hussein talking about concerns? So what they are doing is clearly trying to sabotage this effort to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. That's what they're trying to do. And I'll tell you what really troubles me, Al, is apparently these fellas have not yet learned the lessons of Iraq and Afghanistan. And they are now thinking that maybe the only solution with Iran is not to try to have a negotiation, not to try to have a peaceful resolution to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, but in their minds, maybe the only solution is another war. 2 wars is not enough. Maybe we need a 3rd war in the Middle East. And I think that is a disastrous idea.
Now, there's a petition on the White House website to file charges against the senators. It's already gotten over 70,000 signatures. If it gets 100,000, the White House will respond. No one in history has ever been punished under the Logan Act, so this is highly unlikely in any case. But what does this say to you, that this many people are paying attention?
Look, I think it says that people all over the country understand this is outrageous behavior. It shows the continuing contempt that Republicans have for the president. They invited Netanyahu to a joint session of Congress, and they forgot to tell the president. Now they're trying to undermine these negotiations. But the most significant point is, Al, I want these negotiations to succeed. I want to see a situation where Iran does not get a nuclear weapon, but that conclusion is reached in a peaceful way. I do not want to see a war in Iran. The American people do not want to see a war in Iran. And to try to undermine the president's work, not only with our country, but with the UK, France, China, and Russia and Germany, to try to undermine that effort for a peaceful resolution. And then what? What happens then? Well, if this doesn't work, I think these guys will be hot to trot for a war. And that frightens me very much.
What is also striking, and I must say this, we're out of time. I said it to your colleague, Senator Boxer. Tom Cotton, the senator that led this, has only been in the Senate for 2 months and has shown this kind of disregard and disrespect for the president and the commander-in-chief.
No, you're right. It is, well, that's what we have seen here for the last 6 years. But again, the fear here is, forget, the attacks on Obama, forget all that stuff. What happens if what effort is undermined? What happens if he and the other 5 countries are not successful? What's the alternative? Do these guys really want a war with Iran? What are the implications of that? How many more decades will the United States and our young people be in the Middle East? Will it be a never-ending war? How much is it going to cost us in terms of treasure, in terms of human life? So the goal here is that Obama is trying to do this, negotiate an agreement, and to undermine that effort, to me, is simply an outrage.
Well, there's a lot of troubling questions, and as always, you bring it really home and to a real bigger picture that is even more troubling. Senator Bernie Sanders, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you all.
Coming up.